Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Living in the West, the series of episodes where we explore the lives of the Muslim minorities living in the West. In previous episodes, we looked into the importance of this topic. We looked into the permissibility of this group of Muslims living in the West. We also looked at the vision and strategy for these Muslims. To help me go through this, I have Sheikh Al-Haddad from the Muslim Research and Development Foundation, an organization and think tank from the United Kingdom who help providing solutions to these Muslims living in the West. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, we touched upon the topic of marriage, and you explored and you explained to us that marriage to non-Muslims meant marriage to Ahl al-Kitab, and non-marriage, of course, to others than Ahl al-Kitab. We have a new thing which is coming, a new dimension which is arriving in the Western countries, where we find non-Muslims becoming Muslims and then living in this relationship. What's the guidance in terms of these relationships, Sheikh?
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen nabiyana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Before tackling this issue, the other issue, which is Muslim women marrying non-Muslim men, this issue has been or has emerged recently, and some people said that it has been in some other European Muslim countries, such as Albania, such as Herzegovina, Bosnia, and they said, this brother who told me about this issue came to us in the fatwa committee in Britain, that those Muslims were given a fatwa from some Muslim scholars who came from some countries, we don't want to mention these countries, that those Muslims are allowed, those Muslim women are allowed to marry non-Muslim men. And we have to make it clear that there is ijma' on this. The ijma' is supported by the Quran. We cannot violate this. We know in France, and there was like a survey and a study about this issue, that there are many Muslim women coming from Arab North African countries marrying to non-Muslim men. And this phenomena spread for some time in some of those countries. In Germany, there are some reports of some Turkish women marrying non-Muslim men as well. This is a very, very dangerous issue. Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَلَنْ يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ سَبِيلًا. Yani the kafir, the non-Muslim, should not have superiority or authority over a Muslim. And with irrespective of those who has given this fatwa, it is a wrong fatwa. No one should accept this fatwa, and those Muslim women who are falling into this trap should fear Allah Jalla wa Ala and should find a solution for themselves. Actually, it is not a divorce. We have a case in the Islamic Sharia Council in Britain, and we told the lady that it is not a divorce, because a divorce is coming from a marriage. By the way, the story of Umar ibn al-Khattab, when he forced Talha ibn Ubaidillah and Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman to divorce their women, himself in one of the narrations said, if I ask them to divorce them, okay, divorce means that there is marriage. So he thought about it, and that's why in some other narrations that he retracted his opinion. So similarly, we say there is no divorce because there is no marriage in the first place. The marriage is void and null. So if a woman facing this situation and she repented to Allah Jalla wa Ala, she should leave the so-called husband. she should leave that man immediately. There is no compromise on this issue. We cannot tolerate it. But with regards to if there are two couples, okay, they are non-Muslims, and the lady accepted Islam or the man accepted Islam. Let us talk about the man accepting Islam because it is much easier. If the two couples were from the people of the book, or the woman is from the people of the book, and the man accepted Islam, whether he was from the people of the book or he was from other faith followers, then the marriage, the previous marriage, if it was marriage, then it carries on, and no need for him to renew the contract. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he accepted the marriages of many mushrikeen who converted to Islam. Some of the mushrikeen, they converted to Islam, but their wives have not converted to Islam yet. So in that case, the Prophet ﷺ accepted the marriage. And we don't know whether those wives, some of the cases, the wives accepted Islam later, and some of them have not accepted Islam. Some of them accepted Islam later. And the Prophet ﷺ accepted the marriage. Accepted that marriage. So if the two couples, okay, one of them accepted the marriage, or both of them accepted the marriage, then they should carry on, and the previous marriage should continue.
So this is a case of a man. Now what about the case of a woman now?
Okay, this is the case of a man accepting Islam. As we said, provided that his wife is from the people of the book. But if a man accepted Islam and his wife is not from the people of the book, the marriage stops, or the marriage ends at that point.
A period or
exactly. The marriage ends at that point. There is a fatwa from Majma' al-Fiqhi, the Fiqh Council, that says the man should wait for the iddah period. During the iddah period, he should encourage his wife that does not belong to the people of the book to accept Islam, and he should not have the matrimonial relationship with her. If she accepted Islam during that period, then the marriage continues. No need for them to renew the marriage. As we said, the Prophet ﷺ accepted such marriages in Jahiliyyah. If she decided not to accept Islam, then the marriage is void and null from that point, or after the iddah elapse. Okay? Now, a woman, the other case, a woman accepting Islam. And here again we have two cases. Okay? The case of a woman accepting Islam. Some people say that there are two cases, but that the husband is from the mushrikeen and the husband is from the people of the book. Actually, those two cases are considered to be one case, because a woman, after accepting Islam, is not allowed to stay under under a non-Muslim man, whether he is from the people of the book or whether he is from other faiths. It is not allowed. Allah Jalla wa Ala said, فَلَا تَرْجِعُوهُنَّ إِلَى الْكُفَّارِ لَا هُنَّ حِلٌّ لَهُمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحِلُّونَ لَهُنْ. Don't return them to the kuffar. They are not halal for them, and them not halal for the women. This is a matter that has been stated clearly in the Quran, and there is no concession about it. And many scholars quoted ijma' that if a woman accepted Islam and the husband stays on his religion, whether he stayed on Christianity, Judaism, or any other religion, the marriage comes to an end after the iddah period, and we will be speaking about the iddah period now. It is true that we have heard from some scholars that no, if a woman accepted Islam, then the marriage should continue or can continue. this opinion is a false opinion because it goes against the well-established ijma' of all scholars that لا هن حل لهم ولا هم يحلون لهن. Muslim women are not halal for kafir or mushrik men, and mushrik men are not halal for Muslim women. Those who claimed that this ijtihad is inevitable, they said the aims and objectives of Sharia support this ijtihad. And they claim that Umar ibn al-Khattab and Ali ibn Abi Talib supported this opinion. They also claim that Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah supported this opinion, that if a Muslim, if a lady accepted Islam within the wedlock and the husband is not Muslim, then she is allowed to stay with him because this supports the family. This also encourages the man to accept Islam. This takes care of the children. And they attributed this opinion to Umar ibn al-Khattab, Ali and Ibn Taymiyyah. We clearly say that this is not true at all. And there are books that have been written to refute this opinion. And I remember I had some discussion with some of those scholars who supported this opinion. I said to them, can we imagine that none of the four madhahib, okay, the four established madhab, Abu Hanifa, Al-Shafi'i, Malik, Imam Ahmad, have accepted this opinion, while this opinion has been authentically attributed to Ali or Umar? It is impossible that Umar ibn al-Khattab adopt an opinion and the four madhahib reject it. It is impossible that both Umar and Ali accept an opinion in this issue, which is not an easy issue. It is a major issue, and none of the madhahib accepted that. No, it is not
Especially
true.
when you said earlier that Umar himself wasn't down with these kind of marriages in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay, with this we're going to take a short break, Sheikh Haytham. We'll return in a couple of minutes with the rest of this topic of marriage living in the West. Please do join me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Back to the Prophet. Join Sheikh Amar in the program Back to the Prophet, wherein he teaches us practical lessons from the Prophet's life and how this can help us to overcome our challenges in the present.
We talk about the life example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, seeking guidance for ourselves. In the early days after the revelation of the Holy Quran, the Muslims were greatly persecuted, so much so that quite a few Muslims had to leave Arabia and migrate to Africa to live among Ahl Kitab, Christian people who followed the gospel of Christ.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Living in the West. Just before the break, Sheikh, we're speaking about marriage, and we're speaking specifically about a Muslim woman, somebody who converts or reverts to Islam, and she's in a relationship with somebody, her ex-husband of course, or her husband that we're discussing, who's not a Muslim. And you said clearly here that there was an opinion which you wanted to speak about which wasn't a correct opinion. Could you clarify upon this, Sheikh?
So we said that this opinion that if a lady accepted Islam, okay, she can remain under the husband who is not Muslim, this opinion is against the ijma', against the well-established ijma', and it should not be accepted, and we should not we should not endorse it at all. Now, the fatwa of the Majma' Fiqhi.
Majma' Fiqhi, you've quoted before. Who are the Majma' Fiqhi?
Majma' Fiqhi is the fiqh council that belongs to the organization of Muslim countries. This organization of Muslim countries established this Majma' years ago, and this Majma' or this fiqh council have members of scholars from all over the world, and they discuss major issues. And they discussed this issue, and they clearly said that it is not allowed for Muslim women to stay under a non-Muslim husband. It is not allowed for women who converted to Islam to stay under their previous husbands. And they said, but as Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala said, and as Ibn al-Qayyim said, that the marriage comes to an end after the iddah period, means the woman should allow her husband to stay, okay, for the iddah period, okay, to stay with him for the iddah period. If he accepts Islam during this iddah period, then the previous marriage is considered to be accepted marriage, and the marriage will continue. During the iddah period, there should be no matrimonial relationship. That was clearly stated in the fatwa of the Fiqh Council. But this is just a waiting period. During that period, she should invite him to Islam. She should explain Islam to him in order for him to accept Islam. If he does not accept Islam, the marriage comes to an end. And that's why we say to those women, yes, this is a big test for you to leave your marriage, and the marriage will break down. This is a big test, but we should realize that life is nothing but a test. Allah Jalla wa Ala says, خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ, to test you. Allah Jalla wa Ala said, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً, we test you with shar and khair. Allah Jalla wa Ala commanded Ibrahim alayhi salam to slaughter his son. Allah Jalla wa Ala did not want Ibrahim to slaughter his son, but Allah Jalla wa Ala wanted to test him. Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَلِيَبْلُوَ بَعْضَكُمْ بِبَعْض, when Allah Jalla wa Ala said, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَانْتَصَرَ مِنْهُمْ وَلَكِنْ لِيَبْلُوَ بَعْضَكُمْ بِبَعْض, when the believers who are killing the disbelievers who are killing the believers and humiliate the believers, Allah Jalla wa Ala could aid those believers against those disbelievers, but Allah Jalla wa Ala wanted to test the other believers whether they will help those believers or not. Anyway, this is a well-established principle in Islam. So we encourage her to have patience and to look forward for the reward that is waiting for her in the Akhirah. And we know we should also, as Muslim communities in the West, we should have our own organizations to cater for the social needs for such Muslim ladies.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. That clarifies this point, and I think it's a very important point that the community needs to take a step. But what do we do now? Now, you did say that now the Muslim man is allowed to marry, for example, the muhsanat from the Ahl al-Kitab, and you gave some conditions here. This in a very practical way, how does he go about doing this? And what can he do to safeguard himself? Because like you said, one of the major problems is the children.
Okay. Yes, this is a really big problem. And that's why we call for the Muslim communities to have solutions for this problem from a legal point of view, from other perspectives. They have to have organizations that cater for these needs. And also, we said that the Muslim communities should make life easy for themselves. They should make marriage easy for other members of the community. Many people, many Muslim men, they complain that they did not find Muslim ladies who are accepting them, or they might find some Muslim women who are accepting them, but the parents, they don't accept those men, just because of maybe financial situation, or because of nationality or origin or ethnicity. So they should make it easy. However, if a Muslim man has no option but to marry a Muslim lady, then in that case we say that it is, first of all, you have to have an Islamic marriage. The marriage in the registry office in most of the cases might not be accepted. So
a Muslim man marrying a woman from Ahl al-Kitab who
Yes.
fits the conditions has to go for an Islamic marriage.
Islamic marriage. And the Islamic marriage means the clear acceptance from her side, from a wali for her, and the wali for her is not her father, is not her brother, if they are not Muslims. The wali is the appointed Muslim leader or an imam of a well-established masjid or a well-established Islamic organization, not just any Muslim from the street. And maybe we can touch on this.
This is quite a big topic, because many people, when they get married, they expect that her father or her brother is going to be her guardian. But you're saying here, even if she's from Ahl al-Kitab, her guardian or her wali in this case to marry off will not be that person.
Yes, yes. Although I personally recommend that it is good for the father to be present as the marriage, not to be neglected, just out of kindness to the father, and just he will be aware that his daughter has is married now. So this is the husband should make sure, or the man should make sure, that he takes a well-known Islamic marriage or an Islamic marriage. The other thing is that we recommend those men who want to marry such women to have a prenuptial agreement.
Okay.
The prenuptial agreement, as we said before, it is binding in some countries, in some other countries it's not binding. However, it is considered, okay, from a legal perspective. So we encourage those Muslims to explore the legality of this and the authority or the power of this prenuptial agreement, and to consider taking a prenuptial agreement. Prenuptial agreement means that if they go through any dispute, then they take a Muslim body as an arbitrator to solve their disputes. And even if some non-Muslim countries, some European countries, may accept the prenuptial agreement in terms of the custody of children, if that can be done, then they should go for that. Because in many cases, if a divorce takes place or a marriage dissolution or maybe death, then the woman or the wife will take the children, and most likely she will raise them up according to her religion, as the examples that we have.
This is again, you're making it clear here that the community has a massive obligation in providing these solutions. I mean, many times so many of these cases, and I hear so many of them, but the community distances itself. But they have to take a stance, and this is part of knowing the vision, the strategy, that they have to provide these solutions.
Exactly.
They've got to maybe work towards prenuptial agreements for these Muslim men to be known and to be made standard.
Yes, yep. And by the way, many non-Muslim people, when they get married, they try to go for the prenuptial agreement because they want to protect their rights, because they know that if they don't protect their rights, then they lose the custody of the children, they lose the issue of assets. So Muslim men have to be very, very careful. And see, the issue is that Muslim men, when they get married or before getting married, they are very emotional, and they don't put attention to these things. After marriage, and especially after having children, these problems come to the surface, and then the man is running here and there to find solutions. That's why we say, if you take this measure, then it is likely that you have, inshallah, a successful marriage, or at least you protect yourself against the legal issues with regards to the custody of your children.
Okay, as we come to the end of this episode, again you're reiterating here that the value of a prenuptial agreement, especially for those non-Muslims who make it, is they have wealth, they have something to lose. And the Muslim man has something to lose, which is great, of course, his deen of his children, and maybe himself, his own faith. Is that what you're saying earlier?
Exactly. And even in some countries, maybe considering in the prenuptial agreement that the children will have the faith of the father. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not because many Muslims, when they get married, they don't discuss this issue. As we said, they become emotional, or they were emotional, and then when they have the children, and then they start to discuss it with their wives, and the wives wouldn't accept the children to become Muslims, or their families wouldn't accept their daughter to have a son or a daughter who is Muslim. But if you make it clear that my children will become Muslims and this is a condition for our marriage, then this, inshallah, will help towards having Muslim children.
Okay, and maybe also clear the situation, because many a time these men, like you said, are very emotional sometimes, actually believe their wife is going to become a Muslim.
Yes.
And this is maybe a false notion that she will wake up to when a prenuptial agreement will be said, that
Exactly.
the children will become Muslim.
And sometimes the non-Muslim women claim that the husbands cheated us. They never told us that they would like the children to be Muslims. They told us that they don't mind whether they are Muslims
So
or
this is
not.
the reality that you've seen there.
Yes.
Okay, well, Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad, Jazakallah khair for your comments, especially explaining this to us. A very important topic. I hope that you're taking this topic and going to meet me next time on this episode of Living in the West. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
la